At my breaking point, I broke down to my dad, leading to temporary care. He faked a heart attack when I declined his cash. Hello, this is my initial post. I apologize if this seems like a lengthy essay filled with disorganized reflections. I, 30 female, care for my elderly father, who has a disability due to Parkinson's disease that has significantly deteriorated since the outbreak of the pandemic. His physical mobility is severely restricted, he has very little balance, is at risk of falling. He wears a fall detection medical alert necklace that my brother and I arranged for him, and he cannot manage his personal or household needs. I have been in daily communication with him since the pandemic began in 2020, and I have visited him once a week on the weekends to take him grocery shopping. I would handle it all myself, but he appreciates the chance to go out, which is totally understandable. Vacuum his living space, wash his dishes, change his bedding, clean his bathroom, assist him with bill payments, perform various other tasks. My uncle, my father's younger brother, resides next door and helps with several minor tasks and is available to assist my dad in case of emergencies. Although my uncle has not said this directly, I am certain it has affected him significantly. He also brings food for my father. However, he does very little cleaning, if any. He believes it is entirely my responsibility as the daughter, along with all other matters. He feels that he should not have to do all this work, yet he does it because of his concern for his brother. During the pandemic, I made an effort to visit more frequently, but I am employed full-time at a fast-paced company, often resulting in extended work hours, sometimes up to 12 hours a day with brief breaks for lunch and to walk my dog. Additionally, I have a beloved senior dog that requires considerable care. It became overwhelming, so I reverted back to visiting once a week. Recently, my older brother has returned to our town, and we now alternate visiting our father's house every other weekend. In other words, I go one weekend, and he goes the next. Though visiting weekly may not seem like a lot, it has taken a heavy toll on me over the past few years, bringing me to a breaking point. I have been battling major depressive disorder since high school, which my family is unaware of, and I frequently feel exhausted and feverish. I consistently wake up feeling drained. Balancing a demanding job, a sick elderly dog, a sick elderly father, and an elderly aunt who depends on me. I won't elaborate on her situation as she requires minimal care, and I gladly assist her, she is like a mother to me, is exhausting. I do my utmost with the limited energy I possess, which I realize is insufficient. Over the past year and a half, I have been attempting to persuade my father to consider home health care services that would assist him with personal grooming, light housework, companionship, and check-ins. He has resisted this suggestion, asserting that he is fine with the current situation, doesn't want to incur costs, and prefers not to have an unfamiliar person in his home. Those concerns are completely valid, so I have not pushed too hard. I have made gentle attempts to convey that he needs consistent, sustainable care and discuss the strain it places on our family to try to manage these responsibilities. It simply isn't sustainable. The only time he allowed me to set up temporary physical therapy and an hourly home aid through Medicare was after I broke down in tears in front of him. Unfortunately, that arrangement was only temporary since they do not cover long-term care. I researched hiring a cleaner to come once a week and also considered a home health aide to come a few days each week. He has continuously refused because he does not want to pay for it. It is worth noting that he has the financial means to cover this expense and more. He occasionally gives my brother and me cash, which is incredibly helpful as I do not earn a high salary for our area. I have assured my father that I would continue to visit him even if he did not give us any money, and that I would prefer he use his funds to secure professional care. I will manage and figure things out on my own. He always counters that he will spend his money however he chooses. I have declined some cash on a few occasions, and once he pretended to have a heart attack when I refused. He has experienced a minor heart attack in the past, which was alarming, and ultimately, I accepted the money. My uncle recently called me to tell me that I need to visit my father more frequently to help clean and take care of him. I listened to him without saying much, knowing his concerns stem from a place of caring for my father and frustration. From his perspective, it might appear that we are not doing enough. In the past, We have engaged in heated arguments where he believed we should have been there to care for our dad more often or phone him regularly, even though I speak with him daily. He has labeled me as ungrateful and shameless. When I was younger and more impulsive, I would have reacted defensively, leading to a conflict. I am actively working on my responses to situations and attempting to understand other viewpoints before becoming upset. After our conversation ended, I performed additional research and revisited my old notes, contacting the home care companies I had previously consulted to obtain updated information and pricing. I also explored cleaning services that could provide 2-3 hours of cleaning weekly to help maintain his living space. When I shared my findings with my uncle, he expressed visible annoyance and frustration, insisting that as my father's daughter, I should be managing these tasks myself rather than making my dad pay for things that should be my responsibility. He believes it is the least I can do, and that it isn't a significant burden on me since I am young. I explained that what I am currently able to manage is the extent of my capacity, and I am seeking a sustainable care option for my dad that would relieve some of the responsibility not only from myself, but also from him. I acknowledged that he contributes a lot, and even if he does not recognize it, this situation is not sustainable for him either. He rejected my perspective and once again vented about my perceived shamelessness and selfishness, claiming that I am an awful person. He pointed out that my father financed my college education and supported me financially, arguing that I need to repay him by caring for him. He implied that this duty is solely mine, although he is also involved. Our conversation reached an impasse, so I reiterated my position, wished him a good night, and mentioned that I need to discuss this matter with my dad. Am I the antagonist? I'm trying to approach this situation rationally and sustainably. I provided care for my mother over a decade ago, while I was in middle and high school during her battle with cancer, and I know that being a primary caregiver can be detrimental. I am aware of my limitations and understand that I am not equipped to undertake that responsibility again. My boyfriend of 6 years and I are also looking to take the next steps in our lives, such as moving in together, getting married, and starting a family. We were ready to do so at least 2 years ago, but our plans have been consistently delayed due to my family's needs and issues. He is an incredibly patient and supportive individual, but there comes a time when we need to progress. My dog also needs greater care than other senior dogs due to her chronic health issues. My dog has been my lifeline and has helped me through tough moments since high school, and I refuse to neglect her care. I am the one responsible for her, while my father possesses the financial resources for the professional assistance he requires. It is crucial to mention that my parents divorced when I was 3, and my brother and I were raised by our mother. She faced significant challenges as a single parent and dedicated herself to our well-being and extracurricular activities before battling cancer and passing away. My father contributed child support and would visit us every Saturday, albeit sometimes less frequently. My mother wanted my father to be present in our lives, which is why she included this stipulation in their agreement. I reviewed the documents in high school after her passing. While we participated in activities together, he often left us unsupervised, retreating to sleep in his room before driving us back home. I did not have a positive relationship with him in my youth. He became more affectionate and began seeking us out more often after my mother's death and his Parkinson's diagnosis. I accepted this change and enjoyed father-daughter lunch dates and assisted him when I could since my mother forgave him prior to her illness. If she could forgive him, so could I. My mother wished for us to maintain contact with our father. Their divorce was contentious, and he had committed some egregious acts towards her that even involved the police. She deliberately kept this from us while we were growing up to prevent us from harboring resentment against him. I only learned about these matters later in life, but by then, my negative feelings toward him were already established. My father has financed my college education and provided financial support at various points over the years. While we are not particularly close, I have gradually let go of the resentment I felt toward him during my youth. I am sincerely appreciative of his financial assistance and often express my gratitude. I make it clear that I would continue to visit and care for him regardless of financial support. He should not need to worry about us. He ought to use his earnings to enjoy a comfortable life in his later years. In comparison, my aunt, my mother's sister, has limited financial resources and is unlikely to leave an inheritance. I care for her, so I help with her groceries and engage in frequent phone conversations, visiting at least once a month. It seems that the situation with my father has evolved into a monetary issue, with my brother and me being perceived as ungrateful and neglectful. I am uncertain how to proceed, as I recognize that if I yield at any point, the expectations will likely escalate until I reach my breaking point.